Yo, so pack a lunch, right? There was, oh my gosh, what was it? I think 6 fights went the distance. And you know what? Actually, more than 6 fights went the distance. 7 fights went the distance, but we're looking at the main event later. Now, these 6 fights, there were a couple of them that were crazy, you know? And I think others, I definitely showed us something, right? Showed the fighters something, some valuable lessons here. So we start off with the bantamweight clash between Damon Blackshear and Alateng Heili. Which, man, I was looking forward to this fight, and it wasn't bad, right? Blackshear he was so good in the first round. He did kind of slow as the fight went on. And I think there's something that you can see sometimes when people slow, right? And it's the slip of technique, right? Sometimes it's not a huge slip, right? But it can just be that little bit of sharpness goes. Because in the first round, Blackshear was doing such a good job of keeping Heili at length. His jab, his kicks were just phenomenal. Now, as the fight went on, Heili was getting inside a lot more, right? Getting inside a lot more. And I do feel, you know, if Blackshear could have kept that form from that first round, you know what I mean? It's a clear sweep, and there's a possibility of a stoppage here. But man, Heili wanted that dogfight, and he did get it. He did get it, and it didn't need to be that. You know, Blackshear won, and it was a good decision. You know, a couple of judges gave it 30-27, the other 29-28. So Blackshear was he was the clear winner. It just seemed he made it harder than it could have been, you know, but it was a good win for him. Now, talking about making it hard for yourselves, the featherweight clash, Chris Gutierrez against John Castaneda. This fight had been, you know, they've been trying to book this fight for a minute, right? And it finally got done. Ended on a split decision. And now, when you look at it, right, Gutierrez won that fight, right? He won that fight. But he made it mad difficult, right? Now, if you say Blackshear, you know, made his fight difficult, hey, no. Blackshear was plain sailing when you look at Gutierrez. But in that first round, using the kicks very well. He's sharp, crisp, all of that things. But Castaneda got back into the fight, and he gets Gutierrez down. And we've seen it in the past. You take Gutierrez down, and he struggles a bit. You know, sometimes it's not necessarily he's terrible on the ground, but he doesn't always look to get up. And in this one, he stayed on the ground far too long, allowing Castaneda to have that control time. You know, not necessarily getting off a whole heap of ground and pound and stuff, but you know what I mean? He was able to control it for periods, right? And that's the thing. Like, Gutierrez really does need to work with some great grapplers. I think that's the way, right? Some great wrestlers, some great grapplers to improve himself off the back. Because unless he does, he's never going to, take things to the next level. And, right, he's been on runs before, right? He's stopped people with leg kicks. Gutierrez is a good fighter, but he needs to perfect his weapons. He needs to perfect his weapons and his defense. That's the big thing. That's the thing. But Castaneda, man, he showed he's never out of a fight, right? He showed he's hungry as a motherfucker. And you want to see that, right? You want to see that. It's crazy, right? Because we go from the first, 4 fights being stoppages to then the next 4 fights all going the distance, right? So then we got the lightweight clash, Evan Elder against Gage Young. And Gage Young was making his debut. I didn't know going into this that him and Elder were buddies, right? That they trained together. But when they got into that cage, like, Gage Young looked huge compared to Elder, right? Because Elder's the older one. And, they mentioned in the walkout, right, that Young, there's no animosity at all, right? But Young feeling that he was perceived as the younger brother, right? Which, I mean, it can make sense if you don't have as much experience, right? If someone's taking you under their wing, they're helping you out, showing you techniques, all of this kind of stuff. Yeah, there will be that, right? So he was like, they're buddies, but they wanted to put on a show. He wanted to show that he does belong, all of that jazz. And, man, yeah, when they first got in that cage, I'm just like, oh, fucking hell. Like, are these two the same weight class? But what was really, Elder's ability to put punches and techniques together, I think that was the big difference here. I think possibly Young might have had the heavier hands, but he wasn't really throwing combinations. And Elder, man, he was like putting together some really good combos, mixing in, kicks with the punches. He was putting it together really well. It was weird as well because there was a point where I'm like, I think Elder's gassed. And he looked like he was tired, but he wasn't. Because he's continuing to throw. He didn't actually slow down. You just look, and the body language, I don't even know. It was just the way he was holding himself at times. It looked like, is he tired? But no, wasn't tired. Kept it going, kept moving, kept throwing, putting together solid combos, man. And that was the big difference here. And it's the experience, right? And I think they even mentioned that here, right? Elder's really happy Young got this opportunity and finally got to the UFC. But he said that he felt he's just got more experience, right? And that will get him to the win of this fight. And that's what it was. You can watch it, right? It was 30-27 across the board. It's unanimous decision. But you can see Young has got talent, right? Young should not be disenchanted with this fight. Because you can see he's got skills. But it was just Elder's ability to dictate a fight, to understand what is needed in these circumstances, right? His footwork, ability to move out of the way. It was just all of these things which comes through experience, right? And yeah, it was a good fight. It was a really good fight. A fun scrap. And I tell you another fun scrap, right? It was the last fight on the prelims, the flyweight clash between Jimmy Flick and Matt Schnell. And god damn, right? Now, I tell you people, this was the only fight I got wrong. The only fight I got wrong on the card, which is, I mean, it's crazy, right? But this one, because I think Matt Schnell is a great fighter, but his chin has let him down. Right? His chin has let him down. His focus has let him down in fights. So it was just, has he taken too much damage? You know what I mean? Like, is he still able to get up for the occasion? Those were the concerns leading into it. Matt Schnell's ability was never in doubt. And with this one, and you know what I mean? The speed was there. Everything was there. But Flick, man, like, again, it's that thing where people constantly want to go to the ground, right? But it's just like, going to the ground ain't helping you, man. You know what I mean? Keep on trying a certain thing. Like, what did I say with this one? Because there was takedowns. You know what I mean? Jimmy Flick was looking for the takedown. And, like, he got the takedown at the end of the first. And he went to it straight away in the second. And he was looking good, but he just kind of completely slowed down. Like, completely just, things seems to change, right? Everything seemed to change, and Schnell was able to really put it on him. Right? He stepping elbows. You know, he's looking for a rear naked choke, right? Just all of these things. Matt Schnell outlasted Jimmy Flick. And I don't know if everyone thought that was a thing, right? Because Jimmy Flick's cardio is not bad, right? It's not bad at all. It's good. But yeah, Matt Schnell, I was so happy because he broke that 3-fight skid, right? Broke that skid and got back in the win column. You know, so that was a fun fight too. What wasn't a fun fight? What wasn't a fun fight was the middleweight clash on the main card. Holy crap. Michel Pereira against Magomedov. I don't even know what the fuck happened with this fight. I don't even know what happened, people. Right? Because Pereira, and the thing with Pereira, right? So he come like in the walkout, this dance routine and everything like that. So you're thinking, okay, all right, my man is down for it. But he just did not shift gears. Did not shift gears one bit. Like, I think at the beginning, he hardly threw anything. I think even going, the first 2 rounds, he threw virtually nothing. And you're just scratching your head, like, how does he expect to win this fight? Even in the 3rd round, didn't really throw a lot. even though it's clear he needs a stoppage, didn't really throw a lot. And when the buzzer goes, he raises his hands. And you're just like, wait, do you think you've won this? Or by raising your hand, you can convince the judges that you have? What are we doing here? It was baffling. It really was baffling. You know? Like, an Abus, like, he hurts Pereira a couple of times. But there was no inkling to push the advantage. And it's not about being crazy. It's not about being reckless. You know what I mean? But you just want to see someone has a hunger. Right? That they're looking to capitalize on the, advantageous situations. And there's times when you just think, if a boost actually pushes it, maybe he can get a stoppage, but just never did. It felt like there was no urgency. No, I want to end this fight, right? I want to show people who the fuck I am. Now, at the end, he was clearly gassed, right? He was clearly tired. But you just think, you didn't really do a lot to get that tired. So maybe there was something in the fight camp that his training was disrupted with injury or something. I don't know. But a boost, you just think he could have finished that fight. Right? Just by doing a little bit more, not even going crazy, just doing a little bit more, you feel he could have finished that fight. Like in the third round, Pereira started to do a bit more, but it was just underwhelming, right? It was just, you need to do more than this, right? Because you need a stoppage. You need a stoppage, son. And there was just nada. Nothing. Zilch. So, yeah. Abus wins, but not great. And we end with the featherweight clash between Giga Chikadze and David Onama. Man, this was fun because Giga is tough, right? Giga is tough. Really good kicks, as we know. And, his stand-up is good. His punches are good. His jab, all of this. Now, Onama is powerful as fuck, right? We know that. And there's points in the fight, and you're just like, Onama looks good. But he didn't fight Chikadze like Arnold Allen. And you're just like, if you put mad pressure, that's the best way. But because Onama was keeping it at a range that was like advantageous for Chikadze's kicks. But Onama, not phased at all. Not phased at all. And I would say, as that fight goes on, you can see that he is more confident with his ability, with the fact that he can end this fight, that he can dominate this fight, and we just see him start to take control. Start to take over, right? That was easy. His kicks, like his left hand, all of these things were very good. Like ends with a big takedown. and just the ground and pound, right? David Onama really just, ended this fight well. And yeah, I think it's going to be interesting to see where he goes. Where he goes from here. Like, this was not a perfect performance, right? There is room to grow, but he's young, you know what I mean? So I think he can make those adaptations. And, Giga did come in slightly overweight, so there is that. But yeah, I think Onama showed, even not on his best night, he is a problem, right? He's still a fucking problem. So, yeah, that was it for our decisions, people. That's pack a lunch for you.